Welcome to SVGTV's news for Monday, February 23rd, 2026. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. Prime Minister Dr. Godwin Friday will deliver remarks at the opening ceremony of the 50th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, in Basseterre, St. Kitts on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026, under the theme Beyond Words, Action Today for a Thriving Sustainable CARICOM. This will be his first meeting with regional leaders since assuming office following his party's resounding victory in the November 27, 2025 general elections. The CARICOM Heads of Government meeting will run until Friday, February 27, 2026. The meeting will be chaired by Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew, and will focus on key regional issues including CARICOM Single Market and Economy, the CSME, climate, finance, food security, and regional security. In a recent radio interview here, Dr. Friday said his participation will include discussions on strengthening regional integration and ensuring that it translates into tangible benefits for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He emphasized that his attendance will not be merely symbolic, but purposeful and aimed at determining how the country's engagement in the Caribbean community and the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS, can help raise living standards at home. Dr. Friday noted that regional integration must go beyond rhetoric and theoretical discussions. Instead, he said leaders must focus on practical solutions to ensure that goods, services, talent, and opportunities move efficiently throughout the Caribbean. The United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio is expected to attend the conference as a specially invited guest. Secretary Rubio is scheduled to address the opening plenary session on Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. The grand opening ceremony will begin at 4 p.m. on Tuesday at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort Marriott Dome. The opening ceremony will be streamed live on SVG-TV and the government's official social media platforms. Prime Minister Godwin Friday said that while in opposition, his party promoted greater transparency and called for improved governance in the operations of the National Insurance Services, the NIS, including the wide publication of actual reports and financial statements. He noted that now in government, those principles remain central to their approach to public administration. Dr. Friday, who was at the time addressing the opening ceremony of the NIS Annual Pensioners Appreciation Day held on Friday, said a priority of his administration is to encourage the NIS to broaden coverage among self-employed persons and workers in the informal sector.
The people, especially young people, they work abroad, they work on cruise ships, they work on the oil rigs, they work in fishing, they work in farming. They're an important part of the economy, but they're not contributing to the National Insurance Service. We have to do a better job in reaching out to them to let them understand that it is a benefit for them. It is a good thing for them to be able to participate in contributing to the NIS when they're able to do so. So this is a part of the job, Director Haynes, that we have to do.
While acknowledging that the cost of living remains a serious concern and that he has heard calls for pension increases, the Prime Minister noted that he is not the sole decision maker in that regard. However, he said he understands the pressures many retirees are facing. As Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Friday gave the assurance that he will continue to work alongside the NIS to explore responsible and prudent ways to improve the well-being of retirees, doing so in a sustainable manner.
As I said earlier, the NIS, think of this, is for all time. It ain't just for us who will pass and then you move on to something else. The NIS is for all time. Any decision on pension adjustments must be guided by sound actuarial advice and long-term sustainability. Because the goal is not just to increase today, but to ensure benefits remain secure for a lifetime. your life and for the life of those who are working now and contributing today and will need the NIS tomorrow. So, as I said earlier, encourage people to participate. Encourage persons who you know are self-employed, ask them if they join the NIS. It is the best investment really that you can make.
The Prime Minister further pointed out that the NIS is not just a pension provider, but also a key partner in national development. He said the institution invests in the economy, supports financial stability, and strengthens long-term national savings.
Strong NIS supports economic growth in our country. And growth in turn creates opportunities for families and for future generations. My government's policy position around the establishment of a national development bank complements the NIS in driving socio-economic development, including job creation and economic growth. This, understand this, is focused on ordinary people, ordinary Vincentians, to enable them to have access to capital, to have security after their productive life, and to provide for yourselves when you are working and to have a regular income when you retire. The NIS is for ordinary people. The National Development Bank that we will create later this year is also intended to be able to have capital accessible to ordinary people so that they could engage in business.
During the ceremony, it was also announced that Stephen Joachim has taken over the helm of the NIS Board of Directors from former Chairman Lennox Bowman. The Appreciation Day ceremony was held under the theme, A Legacy of Love. Member of Parliament for East Kingston, Dwight Fitzgerald Bramble, has reiterated the government's position that public servants who undermine the NDP administration will not be tolerated. Bramble made the statement amid ongoing concerns from NDP supporters, questioning why some positions within the public service continue to be held by individuals believed to be aligned with the Unity Labour Party (ULP). Speaking at a meeting hosted by the Member of Parliament for West St. George in Dorsetshire Hill on Saturday evening, Bramble said he takes serious issue with any public servant who undermines the work of the government.
With public servants and being political and allowing that to hamper your work and your duty to the people of this country, I have a serious problem with that. A real serious problem. And I am saying categorically, who vexes their problem. If there's any public servant who is acting outside of their professional responsibility, whether intentional or not, to undermine the New Democratic Party government, they will not be there.
Bramble emphasized that public service orders clearly outline the duties and responsibilities of public officers and warned that there are consequences for actions that are not in keeping with those regulations.
Either the opposition come and talk about, civil service orders and ministers can't hire and fire and all this sort of stuff. The buck stops with us. The people elected us to do their business. And if there are persons in the government service employed as public servants who are going to be derelict in their duty because the civil service orders clearly indicate how you should conduct yourself as a public servant. If you go outside of that, there must be consequences. Come on. We need to stop hiding behind this nonsense about, NDP going to victimize. Nobody victimizing anybody. If you go and undermine our government, there will be consequences, plain and simple.
A reef response plan for St. Vincent and the Grenadines is being developed with support from the Biodiversity Fund, facilitated by the SVG Conservation Fund. A stakeholder workshop was recently held to draft the mechanism for the initiative. Climate and ecosystem resilience expert with the Caribbean Development Fund, Jacqueline Wharton, explained that the project is a pilot program being implemented in several Caribbean countries.
So it's a 2-year pilot project to start in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Dominican Republic, and Jamaica. So we have a kind of a wide diversity of pilot countries purposefully chosen so that rather than kind of creating one regional blueprint that we expect to be applicable in every country, we're very much deep diving into each particular national context to design much more adapted and bespoke national mechanisms that then also link up to a single kind of financial mechanism at the regional level. So the project is kind of centered around three key outputs. The first one is to strengthen the post-hurricane reef response capacities in each of the pilot countries. So that is largely building on the skills and capacities that you already have and just trying to link them up and coordinate.
Minister of Fisheries, Maritime and Land Conservation and Climate Resilience, Conroy Huggins, welcomed the initiative, stating that a structured reef response system is needed in this country.
As it relates to your reef response resilience initiative, because yes, we're going to be affected by climate change. Yes, we're going to be affected by extreme weather conditions, right? And even outside of a hurricane, severe weather could cause significant impacts. And all of that is important for us so that in our response, we are able to plan ahead, and coming up with a protocol is going to be very, very, very important for all of us. Public education is also going to be key, but the work that we do here today, I believe it will bear good fruits, because at the end of the day, this is our environment. And if we do not take care of it for ourselves, then we can't expect somebody, some foreign entity, to come here and do it for us.
President of the SVG Conservation Fund, Gideon Nash, said protecting coral reefs and coastal ridges is critical for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He recalled that coral reefs are often neglected in the aftermath of hurricanes and storms, underscoring the importance of a coordinated response.
As we look at what happens on the land, and we in St. Vincent and the Grenadines have recently experienced the impact of Hurricane Beryl, and more so in my case as a soon to be categorized as an elderly. We'll remember the 2013 flood and how it affected the reef. As somebody who grew up right near to the beach, I can remember the days when, after a heavy rain and after a sea surge, we were excited to pick up coral or dead coral on the beach and take them home and have our mothers for Christmas paint them, not realizing how devastated and how much that was impacting on the marine life. And today, as someone who understands the difference now, I keep saying to younger people that you going and taking the coral from the sea, painting and selling for decoration, how devastating it is to the marine life.
The reef response system is expected to be coordinated by several stakeholder entities, including relevant government bodies. Will Pediatrics carried out its first annual plastic surgery mission for 2026, with 25 surgeries performed. 22 of the procedures were for patients from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have more in this report.
25 plastic surgeries were performed at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital last week by specialist surgeons from World Pediatrics. 18 of the surgeries were conducted by lead surgeon Dr. Nadia Blanchett.
Some of them were complex finger burns that had contractions that we released. We had some burns of the face that we released so that they will look pretty again, and then chest wall deformities and skin grafts and liposuction, so the whole gamut of general plastic surgery.
7 additional surgeries were performed by an ophthalmology team headed by oculoplastic surgeon Dr. Donovan Reed.
Usually a couple hours a case. We ended up doing 7 children's cases this week, varying from, 1 hour cases to several hours long, everything from tumor removals, eye removals, eyelid reconstructions, tear drainage surgeries.
Of the 25 surgeries performed, 22 patients were from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, while one patient each came from Grenada, St. Lucia, and Barbados. One of the oculoplastic procedures was performed on 10-year-old Renisha Burgess of Barbados. Her mother, Rashima, said she felt grateful despite being nervous at first, as the surgery was performed close to her daughter's eyes.
When she was small, she fell on a piece of glass and cut her eye, so we had surgery in Barbados. And then she come to get a skin graft, actually, on her eye in St. Vincent.
A brave and excited Renisha said she is looking forward to her new facial appearance, noting that she was bullied in her early years because of her unusual eyes.
I had this 10 years now, and Barbados not really great. I had to deal with a lot of bullying, and now that I'm in class where I have a friend who's here to carry me all the way. Yeah, she's gonna be very surprised that I'm different now, because she used to see me with the eye like poked down, but I really miss her. That was like from infants to like up to class 3. I've been through so much bullying.
The World Pediatrics Plastic Surgery team conducts 2 missions to St. Vincent and the Grenadines each year. Lead surgeon Dr. Blanchett said the team is honored to be of service to the people.
It makes your life meaningful. It heals us, because we live in such a broken world. It's so broken, and if you can fix something and you can help somebody, it heals you. And the secondary benefit, it might help some other people, but it actually heals us to do this. Yeah.
For SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
National Coordinator of the Police Youth Club, Sergeant Stephen Billy, is calling for stronger discipline and structured intervention as concerns grow over youth violence in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Speaking on Cop Chat program on WFM last Thursday, Sergeant Billy addressed the rising issue, emphasizing that a firm level of discipline must be established when dealing with young people.
Well, I personally think that majority of our young people are good, law-abiding citizens. I really do not label the youth and the children as bad and all that, especially at first glance, in terms of seeing certain deviant behaviors and even violent behaviors. I believe that the youth should be invested in. We should take a chance on them, and we should give them the best opportunity to be the best they can be. I, however, also believe that in all this, there has to be a level of discipline and responsibility, and consequences do come with action. And we need to let our young people know, our children and our youth, at an early age, that it is not a free-for-all. It's not that you can do anything and you can get away with it.
The police sergeant noted that early intervention and consistent guidance are essential in preventing deviant behavior and steering youths away from crime and violence. Despite his firm stance, Sergeant Billy underscored his deep passion for youth development. He said that although he is committed to helping young people succeed, he does not condone violent or destructive actions.
If we do not let them know that there are consequences to actions, we are doing them an injustice. And then we are only fueling and condoning the deviant and violent and criminal behaviors. So overall, I believe in the young people generally. I have given more of my fair share, not to beat the chest or anything, just to simply say that, not just because it is the national coordinator's job, but we the coordinators with the limited and sometimes with no resources that comes from wherever, we have to dig into our own pockets, give our own time, our family time, our effort. So it's more than just a job. It is a lifetime, it's a way of life, it's a family. That's how we see it.
Sergeant Billy further stressed that while many youths may come from challenging backgrounds, their circumstances do not define their destiny. According to Billy, rules, structure, and clear consequences play a critical role in shaping character and promoting future success.
We want to see the young people prosper. And there are times we really have to set some rules and let them know that there are consequences to their actions. And if they're deciding that they are not going to adhere to all the rules or the rules generally, because people love to make excuses. And that's one of the things that we think we're having a problem with. We make excuses, oh, we came from this. So there are persons who came from the same background. Matter of fact, there are persons who came from worse off situations who are making their meaningful contribution, even in school, doing well, surviving all the things that are meant to break them. So I'm simply saying that we need to let them know that yes, we love them, we care for them, and we are here for them, but there are consequences for it.
Sergeant Billy reaffirmed his commitment to working through the Police Youth Club and other initiatives to guide young people toward positive pathways, maintaining that discipline remains a key component in addressing youth violence and building responsible citizens.